Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Zoom meeting for Mu Alpha Theta. And I'm Dana Wade. I'm the executive director. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dylan Roton, our student delegate president, and he's going to take it away.
All right, let me just get the slides up and going because we had just one last edit to make. So
Dylan, you're muted again.
okay, so does it look good now?
Do you see anything? I don't see.
I don't see anything.
I don't see anything, Dylan.
I'll stop sharing and start sharing again. Can you see it now?
Don't see anything.
It took some time the first time, so let's see what happens.
It says sharing this tab to Zoom. Can y'all still not see anything?
Just a black screen.
It's just a black screen.
Let me. Okay, is it still a black screen? Because I'm looking at the slides.
Yeah, it's still black screen.
Oh, perfect.
That's so weird.
Yeah, because we had it pulled up like 2 minutes ago.
Maybe like reload your browser.
I'll just
maybe?
reload the presenter. I'll reload the presenter view thing.
Okay.
Is it? How about now? Still a black screen?
Still black screen, yeah.
Well, Dylan, I'm not the most techie person, but this happened to me once because I had two screens going and I wasn't choosing the right screen. I mean, two monitors, I guess I should say. I have two monitors and I had to make sure that I closed out of the one. But I'm not techie, so that could totally be wrong.
The weird thing is that it says like I can see in my preview for it, I can see the slide.
Dylan, email the presentation to me, robsnow23@yahoo.com, and then I'll try to get it up on my computer.
Okay.
Because we did have it, but something's going on where we don't.
I could also try share
Okay,
screen.
I sent it.
Oh.
But it's just weird because I can still see the preview of. I see the preview. Oh, I see it now, Audrey.
Okay, I tried screen sharing. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have an image.
Okay.
All right, I think we can, do you want to just go ahead and get started?
It's 4 after. I think we could go ahead and get started.
All right, so hello everyone, welcome to our March Mu Alpha Theta National Meeting. And in today's meeting, we'll be talking mostly about a national convention and what you need to do, what you need to prepare, and what the overall expectations for convention should be. My name is Dylan Roten and I'm the student delegate president. So other guys, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Audrey Alino, and I am the national secretary, and I live in Brentwood, Tennessee.
Hello, my name is Ria Pablo. I am the parliamentarian and I live in Auburn, Washington.
All right, so with that, can we?
Also, Sharva is not here today, but he's our vice pres.
Yes. So this is the overall view of National Convention 2023. So it will be in Fayetteville, Arkansas at the University of Arkansas. And the link that we have in this presentation is to the sponsors packet. And so on that link, we have that's where like all of the information that you could think about for the convention is. So they have like the rough outline, they have the rough schedule. They have all the topic test ideas, all the rules for the tests, and even the registration information is at the bottom. So if you are even thinking about going to National Convention, I really recommend that you click on that link, or you go to the National Mu Alpha Theta website where you can look at that sponsor packet and get a really good idea of what convention is like.
Oops. So National Convention is not just about taking math tests constantly. This is a little bit of like kind of the fun of National Convention. Top right, you can see, I believe his name is Todd, circling his trophies around, everybody cramming on an elevator. And then I know you're probably all laughing at these jokes with your microphones muted, but we also like share jokes on the screens. So yeah. And then this is last year's testing. For a lot of the events, we were just in one big room, and you would avoid sitting next to like someone else taking the same test as you. So if you're a mu, you would sit next to a theta or an alpha because it's split by levels of math. And then we would all just be taking the math at the same time. So there's this giant room with everybody in it taking math tests.
So this is one of the big things that we have is, so I'm also a part of Louisiana's Mu Alpha Theta. I'm the Louisiana State Secretary. And I always just kind of get questions from people like they didn't know that National Convention was a thing, or they don't know why they should go to National Convention. So we're gonna have a little feature about this in the month's newsletter as well. So you can ask your sponsor to see your newsletter. But we kind of as a board compiled the most important reasons that we think you should attend National Convention. And for me, what takes number one is being able to meet students from across the country. Because at last year's convention, we made friends from Indiana, from Washington, Tennessee. We had a school from Hawaii, and so it's a really good opportunity to meet new people, have fun, and explore, because you do have some downtime in convention. It's not 24/7 math. You have downtime, and we've planned activities and events and outdoors things, but you really get to connect with a bunch of new people, and it's an experience you can't really replicate that. So do you guys want to explain what y'all's number one reasons for going to convention are?
I mean, mine was probably also meeting other students and just also getting a feel for a college campus and dorms. I know a lot of people, this is kind of like them going out of state almost like on their own independently without their parents. And so this is kind of their first step going into the college feel without your parents like, oh, do your homework, do your laundry. Like you're just going and competing and having fun for a week.
Yeah, I'd also like to agree. I liked meeting other people from different schools across the country, and it's just a good way to make some new memories. I definitely look back on old photos from time to time, so yeah.
And so another one of the big questions when it comes to nationals is how do I prepare for nationals? Because maybe sometimes it can seem a little daunting, or it's like, this is National Mu Alpha Theta. You're competing against the best people in Mu Alpha Theta really in the country. So I think, at least for me, I know I was a bit overwhelmed at the beginning when I decided to go to nationals. So here are some of our best tips that we can give you to prepare. So what we've linked right there in the first line of the slide is the link to the National Mu Alpha Theta website's old test. They have tests dating back to 1995, all the way to this year's national convention. And on that link, you can see all of the topic tests, all of the individual tests, all of the ciphering. So that is the single best way that you can get an idea of what the tests are going to be like. But when you're practicing those, you should also try to practice using realistic settings. So you should time yourself. And then when you're finished, don't be hard on yourself, but you need to go over your mistakes, because a lot of the same concepts are on the same test. Because, if you're in theta, there's only a certain amount of topics that can be on a theta individual test. So if you can go over it, you can rep it, you can practice it consistently, you'll get better at doing the tests. And also on the Florida Mu Alpha Theta and Louisiana Mu Alpha Theta websites, there are also histories of old tests that you can practice. And then if you have exhausted all of those resources, which would probably be kind of difficult because there's so many, but then I would also say it would be useful to either ask your teacher, like your math teacher or your sponsor, what they think, or using outside resources like Khan Academy. And then also, this is also my slide, the topic tests. So the topic test, at least how it works in Louisiana, is you only get to choose one topic test. So something which is a change for national convention is that there's 3 rounds of topic tests. So you have 3 whole opportunities to choose a specific topic within your area to do well. So I've linked that. This is a screenshot from the sponsor packet this year. That is the choices for the topic test. So you need to choose how it says theta, alpha, mu, and open. You get to choose which test feels benefits your strengths the best. So this year I'm alpha. So for round 2, I might choose equations and inequalities because I know I'm not that good at combinations of probability. So you have 3 different choices for 3 different rounds. And this is something that you need to sign up for during registration with your sponsor. And it's something you should also probably talk to your sponsor about, because if you have a bunch of students going for in the same subject, you should probably split it up a little. And then all of these old tests are also available on the Mu Alpha Theta website. And yeah, so I just wanted to include this slide because students need to start getting an idea of what are the topics this year, which one should you do, because registration isn't too far away and you need to start getting a good idea of that.
So next, going through the test that you'll be doing is ciphering. And on the right, you can see a little bit of like the ciphering test, what it'll be like. Basically, you'll have a whole like kind of almost like a notepad of questions, but you can only see like mu ciphering question 1, and then they'll say go, and you'll rip off your paper, turn it over, and there'll be the question. You'll solve it as quickly as you can. There's going to be a 3-minute time limit per question, and scoring is based on a sliding scale. So basically, if you answer it during the first minute correctly, you get 12 points. And they say like first minute done, and you have to like raise your ciphering sheet in the air. And then they'll go in the second minute, and if you finish it during the second minute, you'll put it up, and then same for the third minute. And then when they tally those scores, if nobody answered it correctly during the first minute, then if you answered it correctly during the second minute, it would be 12 points. And then, so this is kind of like speed running your topic questions or sorry, level questions. And then these results matter for the school bowl, where the top 4 individuals from each school per division will compete as determined by the sum of your individual tests and your ciphering score.
This ciphering is my personal favorite event, just because it's fast paced and it's really competitive and it really gets the whole room involved. So that's because it's like you got to finish it as quickly as you can and raise it above your head. Like it's pretty intense, but it's definitely my favorite event to do.
Okay, so next topic test is history of math. This is an open topic test, so any division can enter into this topic. So the special thing about this test, it's only 30 minutes and it has 30 multiple choice questions. I did this one last year, and how I kind of prepared was I watched a couple documentaries. I did research on the most influential mathematicians. I also used like old tests from FEMAT and Mu Alpha Theta, which is linked in the comments, yes, or the chat. And I would make answer keys. I would use the answer keys to make flashcards and then use active recall to memorize those facts. I would also make like a huge, either a document, a Word document, or a Google document, or a notebook, depending on like what works best with you. You can make a notebook on the research of mathematicians that mentions their names, years alive, where they're from, their education, and any major discoveries or publications. And a good website is this website here. I'm gonna paste that into the chat as well. And it basically kind of goes over like 100 influential mathematicians. And I think that would help.
And so history of math this test is an example of the National Convention not just being 100% like your level math. So some of the other fun tests that we do that I don't think we talk about the rest of the slideshow is that there's a mystery test, which the only information you get about the mystery test is that it's a mystery test. And it's all of the questions are self-referential. And I thought I had a blast doing it last year. And then I think one of the tests that they did last year was the Comic Sans test, which every question was based off of a page of a comic strip. And so one of the teachers or sponsors took their time and like beautifully crafted this packet of comic books with all of the questions. And I think it ended up being one of the like most well talked about tests at convention. Yeah, but
Yeah,
so I just
that
wanted to
test.
bring that. Oh,
Yeah.
you took it? Oh, how was it?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like everybody around me, because like I was the only mute in the area, everybody around me was like, whoa, like your packet's so thick and full of color, and like each page, like you turn it was a new math problem that related to like Spidey or like the Hulk.
Yeah, so that's just I just wanted to bring that up because I don't think we talk about that later. And I think that was one of the unique really made me have a great time was seeing like how there's all these fun tests in addition to the normal individual and topic tests.
Oh yeah, and up next is Chalk Talk. So Chalk Talk's one of the really fun ones. I feel like I didn't personally do it. I had a friend that did it and I watched his Chalk Talk, and I can say that it's really fun to watch it. But here's what it basically is. It's a 7-minute speech that's given out by one student from each division. So you'll have one Mu, one Alpha, and one Theta that will represent your school, presenting one of the topics here. So for Theta this year, it's Math, a Diamond in the Rough. Alpha is Math Trails and the Cyclist's Dreams. And for Mu, it's the integration of math and agriculture. A keynote is to make sure that whichever division you are in, you are making sure that the math in it is, so like if you're a Theta, make sure it's Algebra 1 and Geometry. If you're an Alpha, elements beyond Algebra 2 and Geometry, like pre-calc. And for Mu, it has to be calculus. So you don't want to go beyond it or too little, like behind. So for this year, instead of doing round 1 at nationals, they're having a 7-minute video that will have no cuts. So you won't be having like multiple takes and then piecing them together. It'll all be in one take. And you have to present your work in some way, with whether it's a document camera, a whiteboard, chalkboard, pen and paper, however you choose. And this has to be submitted by May 31st, 2023, 11:59 p.m. And all 3 of those videos have to be in one email to, I believe, Mr. Snow and 2 other people. I don't remember, but so yeah, that's round 1. After that, those videos will be reviewed, and then the finalists will present live in Arkansas, that same 7-minute speech live. And the cool thing about this is you're going to be presenting on like a bigger whiteboard. So a big thing is you want to practice like taking up all the space on the whiteboard and making sure you're using that fully, because you'll also be counted for points on that. So how to prepare on that. You want to find a coach that is familiar with the type of math you will be using so that you can fact check your math and make sure it's appropriate to your division. And also find a coach that can help you with your speech, because a huge part of Chalk Talk is your speech. So speech and math also go hand in hand. If you're trying to figure out what different ideas you're trying to find out, just kind of bounce around, look at what fits with you, make sure it's something you're interested in talking about, because you're going to have to like talk about this in 7 minutes, and 7 minutes goes by fast. So it's always easier to choose the type of math you're going to do first and then build a story around it. Instead of the other way around, if you make a story and then try to piece in the math, you might have a harder time instead. You want to fit in as much math as you can into the 7-minute piece while also piecing a story together with it. And then practice writing on a whiteboard, like different sized whiteboards, go throughout the school, try to find different whiteboards, making sure you're utilizing all the space on the whiteboard. And don't forget, you have to cite any outside sources you have that will be turned in on a note card before your Chalk Talk. And then practice on your own time. Talk in front of a mirror. Just kind of practice enunciating your words, making sure you're clear. Yeah, that's pretty much what Chalk Talk is.
All right, so next is poster. So the basis of that is you're going to arrive at the competition, and I believe the first night they're going to tell you a theme for your poster, and you have to, before Wednesday night, I believe, make this whole poster that relates to the theme, includes math, includes other like fun poster things, and while also balancing out like your tests. So a lot of people, like with the second question, who should we bring with us? A lot of people or teams bring people who love both math and art, or some people who will just focus on the poster for those 3 days. What should you bring? Art supplies, whether your preferred medium is oil paints, pastels, or markers, bring lots. Bring a mix of different mediums, and you can practice beforehand if you really are just feeling the art flowing through you. They will have your poster board, and you're not allowed to bring glitter. And then if you're a returning team, you can look for your school or other schools' past poster designs and topics. As you can see there's a team working on their poster. And these are some of the posters from last year. Their theme was capital math. Some of them used paint, some of them used markers. Arkansas probably won't have like paints and markers available for you to use or buy. So you want to bring that with you in your suitcase or your luggage. You just want to bring that with you.
And one of the big things, if we could back it up just really quick, one of the things that I found very interesting last year was how the students were able to incorporate math so well into their posters. So, because one of the things I remember, you can't really see it that well in this photo because it's kind of zoomed out, but on the Washington D.C. with the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument with the one that says Washington D.C. in the right corner, that one they had they had very small math just everywhere. They had all of the equations for everything everywhere. It was it was beautiful, and I was like, how did they come up with this in 3 days, or like in the short time period? How did they come up with this? But yeah, I think this is one of the staples of convention we do at Louisiana as well. And yeah, it's another one of the ways to get involved that's not just pure math. And so the National Delegate Assembly. So the National Delegate Assembly as a body is comprised of one representative from every school at convention. And this representative is chosen before convention and happens before at registration. So if you are interested, if you've been coming to these meetings and you're like, wow, I want to be a part of the Student Delegate Assembly for next year, you need to talk to your sponsor about that because it's really up to them. But so what does the National Delegate Assembly do? So every day at lunch, you'll be instead of having lunch with everyone at convention, we have a special room that's set aside for the National Delegate Assembly. And so at these lunches, we will choose, are there any not structural, but are there any changes to the bylaws of the Student Delegate Assembly that we want to make? Or is there anything that we'd like to see at next year's convention? Or even is there anything happening at convention right now that needs to change? So it's our responsibility as a body to look out for the greater look out for convention and look out for the greater body of Mu Alpha Theta students across the whole country. And additionally, at the National Delegate Assembly lunches are the elections for the next year's student delegate officers. So in this process, you'll break up between your regions of the country, which the regions are available on the National Mu Alpha Theta website, by the way. So you'll break up into your regions, and each of you will have a nominee from your region. And from there, the nominees will give us a little speech, say a little something about why they think they would like to be involved in the Student Delegate Assembly. And then the whole assembly takes a vote, and the officers are elected for the next year. And then once that you're a national delegate officer, that's when it's your responsibility throughout the whole year, communicating with the other officers, trying to increase engagement in Mu Alpha Theta, like hosting these meetings. That's a part of us as a student delegate officer body. And yeah, so we've kept up with the student delegate board all year. We've been communicating with the adults who are the leadership of Mu Alpha Theta. And it's kind of, we're the intermediaries between the adults and the whole student body. Yeah, and then there's the photo of us right after that. That's when they were announcing the delegate officers at convention last year. So do you guys want to add anything to that?
I will say that it was such an interesting process. I will be honest, like my sponsors were not very informative on what I was getting into, but I'm really grateful to be on this position on the board. And I think it's like a good experience to see like what happens behind the scenes. You get a little sneak peek into what nationals will be like next year. Yeah.
And it's kind of your role to represent those around you, those like other people you see at convention. I mean, there's going to be complaints every year that only the students are going to hear about, and the adults cannot do anything about it unless our student delegates come to the adults and like speak their concerns and actually like enact change. And then another thing is we have an Instagram that you also get to help influence, and the newsletter that you help influence.
Yes. We can. Yes, we can. Also, the newsletter is emailed to every sponsor from around the country monthly, and so it's our job, if we need to say something or we need to communicate or we want to get the word out about any of the programs or we need to promote the scholarships. That was a big thing this year at my Louisiana local tournaments. One of the big things was that sometimes they would, just give me the mic for a couple minutes and say, can you give a couple words about applying the scholarships that are due in February, or, promoting National Mu Alpha Theta, being a leader and representing Mu Alpha Theta to, everyone and everywhere. It's a nice responsibility, and I think it's been a very rewarding experience so far. And then this is our last slide about National Convention as a whole. And so I think all three of us can chime in a little bit. But one of the things we realized was, or at least I realized when I was at National Convention, was I had probably forgotten to bring a couple things that I should have brought. Because I know, you're away from your family for a week. You're out of state most likely for a week. And so it's just some things that you wouldn't really initially think of. So the first thing is that you probably need to bring a couple levels of attire. So the last night of convention is formal. So you need to have formal attire. Or if you're going to go to the college mixer, which is one of the special activities, or if you're going to go to the ice cream social, maybe there's a couple different activities throughout convention that you need to have different outfits for, not just like a Mu Alpha Theta t-shirt, And then one of the things that we all agreed on was bringing snacks or food, because you will have downtime. And the same thing about games and cards, which is a couple bullet points down, is you will have downtime, and you to maximize the most fun you can have and not have to, look around for something to do or something to eat or whatever, you should probably bring snacks and food. And I was a hit last year because I brought snacks and our hotel room was busy.
Oh,
Oh,
also
let me
add-
interject one thing really quick. At the college mixer, they often asked you to wear a shirt to the college that you're attending. So that might be an addition to that.
Yes.
Also addition to that, bring like a reusable water bottle that you can keep filling up, because I don't know, we went to DC last year, and let me tell you, $5 for a water bottle was not it. So definitely bring a reusable water bottle. Yeah.
And additionally, one of the things we didn't mention so far, because I think we've mentioned it on like every single Zoom, and I've mentioned it every time people have asked me about National Convention, was that part of the excursions for this year, since we are in Arkansas, are to go hiking and biking out in the Ozarks, and to go to the art museum in Fayetteville. And so we're going to be outside or active for a lot of convention. And I want to say we're doing yoga in the morning. So there's a bunch of physical active things that we're doing in addition to make it more fun. And I think I'm going to try to participate in everything that I can. But with that, you should also you need to bring sunscreen or outdoors gear. So like, I'm going to bring a hat because I don't want to get sunburned, or, different, if you need to bring a certain pair of shoes to do outside stuff, think about that as well. Yeah. What do y'all think? Anything? Are we missing anything besides stuff like, pencils
yeah.
and calculators if you need it? Yeah.
Since we are on a college campus, you're going to be going between buildings for different events. So bring like a backpack or something to carry your stuff. And don't forget those art supplies. My team forgot them last year. So we Amazoned them to the hotel we were staying at. But I don't know if that's possible on a college campus in the middle of summer. So definitely bring that as well.
I'll definitely say, since we're doing like a lot of physical activity, wear comfy shoes. I had like a pair of slides, I had a pair of heels for like fancy night, and then I had like running shoes that I basically wore like around everywhere. Definitely don't forget sunscreen, don't want to get burnt. And definitely bring spending money. There's gonna be, I'm assuming there might be food places, depending on, my school always goes like 3 days early, so we had to bring spending money because that we had to get our own food, but food is provided at the convention. So unless you're planning to buy souvenirs, bring spending money.
And a lot of teams take certain nights. So I want to say we ate at the hotel last year, all except like one night when we were like, okay, well, let's go out, let's have fun. And then also on the excursion day. So like on the excursion day, it was really useful to have spending money, because like, I think we ended up visiting a couple of the monuments, but then we also ended up at like the mall at one point. So using, having spending money, again, one of those things you might not have thought of. Yeah.
All right, so if you have any questions or ideas that you want to see at convention, you can feel free to unmute and ask or to put them in chat. I'll put the link to the slideshow in the chat. Hold on, there we go. So you can access that. But I believe that's all we have.
Yes. Do you think we left out anything? We mentioned the excursion days out towards the end. And yeah, I would just emphasize again, look through the sponsor packet if you're interested, because they have all the information about the excursions. They have a full convention outline of the schedule, basically. That was very useful for me for getting a better idea what it's going to look like, because going into this last year, we didn't have a national convention in person before last year because of COVID. So I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what it was like. So looking through that will be very beneficial to get a better idea of what you're looking at for convention.
And the spending money, you can also spend it on the wonderful Mu Alpha Theta merch like Dylan is showing off. So not just for food, you can also use it for Mu Alpha Theta.
True. Very true. Hey, I have my drawstring bag. I'm gonna rock. I have like 3 Mu Alpha Theta t-shirts. I have my drawstring bag. I'm gonna rock them.
Only 3 Mu Alpha Theta t-shirts? Wow.
3 national. I have like
There you go.
10 school. I have like 10 school t-shirts. All right. Sponsors and adults, did you guys think we missed out on anything? Did y'all want to add anything?
I thought you all did really well in describing the different facets of the convention. So many parts of the convention stay the same each year, some change each year, but this was great to hear so much more about the details of the different tests and the different events that are throughout the week. So it's a great time.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard anyone say anything negative about convention. All I hear is that they're wowed by how much fun they ended up having, or how many new people they met. Or, I think everyone that we took from Louisiana last year had a blast, and I think we're all going to be returning for this year. So if there's one thing, talk to other people who have been to convention from your school. Ask them about their experience, because more than likely they had a great experience too, and we'll be back. So
What are your guys' plans for the rounds, people in chat?
yeah, I need to start thinking about that. I could probably do some trig.
Yeah. For alpha. Yeah.
Ooh, math and physics. I'd have to look at that test.
Oh, that's also for calculus.
I'm not sure if the people who have joined us on this Zoom are sponsors, or if they are students, members of their chapter of Mu Alpha Theta. But certainly, we are happy to answer any questions that you might have on the sponsor side or on the student side.
And where will this recording, and where will the other recordings be available after the meeting?
The first 2 are already up there on our YouTube channel, the Mu Alpha Theta YouTube channel. We have one of those. And so this one, we'll get it uploaded to that site this week. So they'll all be there. Anybody can relive these magic moments that we have together.
Okay, perfect. Because I think I'm going to share. Some of the Louisiana people couldn't make it, but they wanted to learn more about convention. So thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and sign off and make sure that this Zoom meeting does get put up onto our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call the national office or email us, anything like that. We're happy to answer questions about the national convention or anything else that we have going on. And so please just make sure that you reach out, because we would love to talk with you.
Thank
So-
you, guys. You did a great job.
Yes.
Kudos to you.
Yes, thank you.
See you next
delegate
time.
Officers. Yeah, we have another
right,
one
thank you.
on April 2nd.
We have one more
is our
meeting.
next one. Yes, April 2nd. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.